Welcome. Last episode, the peace lines were finally started to be drawn. How do the peace lines look? These conferences were known as the Varna. The Eastern peace treaties were known as the Varna peace conferences. Not the Varna peace conferences. The Baku conferences where territory got exchanged. Georgia being forced to lose Abkhazia as basically representation puppet state. The main loser of this war would be Azerbaijan, which gains nothing and loses while Georgia gains the Zatakala region and some parts here. The loss of Abkhazia would be way bigger. Dagestan isn't that powerful. As the Assyrians only get to move a bit into Haralaki, becoming Assyria instead of the Orange Assyrian Republic. Let's have a load of Google for a second. To see if there are any major cities here. So they could realistically control Uina. Okay, let's see. So Yusikova becomes no. This small territory could only have in Sele and Sele. Yeah, that's okay. Let's maybe order. Okay, Urima could realistically be the capital, but the Urima isn't really in that territory. In this territory, it's only Yusikova. The former capital would not exist. It would just be a small state. And the Assyrians would build up new Assur here. Build a new Nineveh, and Yusikova would eventually become another administrative center for them. This would be a dump. But the Persians annex all of Haris, all of the minor Tailam Republic. Damascus would be turned into would be given to the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan, Now the Hashemites are, I think, Sayyid or Muhammad's descendants-ish, kinda. They are genetically related to Muhammad. That's the point of Sayyid. So they can basically become the caliphs. So if the Islamic Caliphate somehow forms, it would be these guys. These guys would somehow take over an Islamic group and then go to power. That's how in reality a new caliphate could form. As you only, or maybe these guys marry themselves off to someone else. The Turks also annexed all of Mesopotamia. Mainly and Cyprus, so would be given back. Same with the last remnant Kurdistan. And the Turks even would eventually end up seeing this as a dub. Now, of course, the war still continues in Greece, and eventually the Turks would suffer major casualties here, with the Greeks being eventually being turned into a partisan government, mainly funded by, shockingly, the Greek Orthodox Church. This new Iron Guard policies of Romanian Iron Guard, known as the Iron Vanguardism, would basically spread all around. Which is basically centralized absolutism with a lot of theocratic overreach. So basically Spain from the 1600s without all the incest, because I don't think the Bagrationi family did a lot of incest. I mean, even though they did a lot of the stuff that the Habsburgs did before the incest. The Habsburgs married off to some people in Italy and Spain and everywhere in Europe, so that they could basically take over all of Europe. That's how they got to becoming so powerful, using royalty. That's the Habsburg strategy. The Bagrationi family used the same strategy, and the Bavarocratica and the Bavarocratia would be restored, and this time would be proclaimed by the Greek Orthodox Church. And so these reforms would basically be in the middle of Spain during the age of exploration, and Tsarist Russia, because Tsarist Russia was backwards. These countries are not that backwards. I mean, the military technology would go up significantly, basically just for survival, due to just how much wars these countries have been in. These guys would be one of the best in military strategy. Plus the Greeks plus the Middle East has a lot of countries that are absolutely great at developing technologies. And there are really only few countries in the world that are bad at developing technologies. For example, okay, that's just racism. And also Kaliningrad gets to Germany because the real reason the Germans joined was because of nationalism. And the first order of business was bringing back Kaliningrad. Also, the Bulgarians also got massive money's worth from the Turks. The main countries that were devastated were Kurdistan and the other countries. With this, the coalition easily disbands, but not really. The coalition is still somehow alive. For example, the Turks, due to controlling Iraq, have been seen even more terribly. At least they were viewed as, instead of conquerors, as imperialists. That's, I think, better. And India, let's talk about India. The Republic of India would be forced to fight against. The Republic of India would basically collapse again. Mainly this time due to the massive amounts of Bengali immigrants, but the majority of them would be deported back to Bangladesh. But the sheer instability would cause a bunch of cliques to form up, with the border between it and the Afghan Empire very weak. Along with that, the Sikhs would declare independence, forming the new Sikh Empire. After that, the Indians would create a snap election where the Indian Republic is dissolved by the Dissolvement Party. And northern India would descend into a bunch of tiny princes, republics, and a mess. While southern India becomes the commune of India. The Indian commune decides to invade its neighbor princes. Alongside, they would annex Sri Lanka due to Sri Lanka being in debt. And they basically just said, we'll force your debt. You can have zero debt. They can take all the debt if you join us, and Sri Lanka's agreed. Mainly through plebiscites, but still with the Communist Republic of Dravidia invading these countries. They would eventually launch a naval invasion of the Orissa territories, which controlled a large chunk of the Indian Navy, the pre-WW3 Indian Navy. The communists have an event. They aren't really communists. They are more social democrat-ish. They aren't fully communist, but they aren't fully democratic and socialistic. Because I believe communism is a form of socialism. Socialism is just even bigger than communism, which is a bunch of ideologies combined in which were based off the ideas of Marx. And Marx's beliefs were based on socialism and the commune. And now the new communist Indians would have two rivals, mainly the Empire of Bengal, which has become which is starting to build a great dam across Bengal to stop global warming, and Mumbai, which is basically cyberpunk. Now Mumbai annexes these two Indian countries, becoming the neutral zone, and the Bengal Empire annexes these three countries. And yeah, with that, not really. No. that, that's the video. Thank you for watching and please subscribe.